Hey, this is Ralph, and in this video I want to go over importing new data into an Access database. In this case, we're going to go from Excel, and it's an important skill that, because a lot of businesses have data in an Excel format, and you want to get it into your Access database so that you can start doing more stuff to it or with it. So I've got a blank database going on here. There's no tables, and I don't really want any of those tables because I'm going to have tables generated for me. I'm going to head over to my external data ribbon, and I'm going to import from Excel. Now I've already got an Excel spreadsheet set up with a couple sheets of data, so I'll go ahead and browse for that. And let's see if I can't find it easy enough. It's in my classes folder, my 125A folder, and here it is. So I've got this spreadsheet here of salespeople and customers. So that's the Excel spreadsheet that I want, and I'm going to click OK. And there was a few different worksheets on there. In fact, just before I do this, let me just pause for a quick second and let me jump over to Excel and open this up just so you can see it. Open as read-only, that's fine. Okay, so basically when you're importing data into a database from something like a spreadsheet, you want to make sure that the table of data is completely self-contained. And what I mean by that are there are no empty columns and there are no empty rows, because that would break up the ranges of the data. I also want to make sure it's a nice, neat table. It's not like there's no extraneous data off to the side and stuff like that. And it's on a sheet by itself. So my employee information is on a worksheet by itself called sales staff. My client's information is on a worksheet by itself. No empty columns, no empty rows, there's no extraneous data off to the side and anything like that. So it's already been cleaned up a bit in Excel. So being able to clean data in Excel prior to your import is a good skill to have. Let me go ahead and close this Excel spreadsheet. So I'm back at the import process, and I have a number of sheets to choose from. I'm going to get my sales staff worksheet, and I'll click Next. Now I do have the first row contains column headings. That's true, so I want to make sure that's checked. I've got those column headings selected. Next. And now I'm going to look at my data and just confirm things. My employee ID field is text data type, employee name is text, their cell phone number is text, their hire date is date time, and their base salary is currency. And if I wasn't satisfied with any of those default data types, then I would set the data type that I wanted right from the menu here. So I'm good with that. Next. Do I want to let Access add a primary key? Sometimes, but not usually. I've got my own primary key already established, so I'm going to choose my own primary key, and I'm going to use the employee ID as the primary key. I already know these are good primary key fields. There's no duplicates at all, and they uniquely identify each record or row. So that's going to be my primary key. Next, everything's good. Sales staff, I'll click Finish. I'm not going to save my import steps, but I will run through this again real quick. So I'll close. There's my sales staff table. I'm going to try this again. I'm on my external data ribbon in Access. I click on the Excel import option. I find the Excel file that I want. There it is. Click OK. By the way, I'm importing the source data into a brand new table. I'll click OK. This time I want my client's worksheet. Next. My first row does contain column headings, so that's checked. Next. My client ID is here we go, here's a good example. Even though my client ID number looks like a numeric field, I'm not going to average it, I'm not going to total it, I'm not going to calculate with it, so I don't want it to be a numeric field. So I'm going to change it over to text. I want it to be a text field. My client name is text, address is text, city is text. My client balance, I could leave this as double, but I'm going to change it over to currency. Employee ID is text. That's important because that's the foreign key within the relationship. So it needs to be the same data type as employee ID was in my sales staff table, which was text. So that's good. Next, I'm going to choose my own primary key. Client ID is going to be it. And I'll click Next, and the name of the table looks good to me, Clients, and I'll click Finish. Close. So now I've got this table. I've got my Clients table, and my Clients table has a bunch of data in it, and I've also got my Sales Staff table. Now that I've got those tables imported, one of the next things immediately that I want to take care of is the relationship. I've closed those tables down, head over to Database Tools, Relationships, and I'm going to display both tables. Clients and sales staff. Client ID on the clients table. Oops, sorry, I'm going the wrong way really. Employee ID on the sales staff table goes to employee ID on the clients table. Primary key to foreign key. Enforce referential integrity and create. If I had bad data, I probably wouldn't have been able to enforce referential integrity. What does that mean? Well, if I enter a new client on my clients table, I won't be able to put in an employee ID if that employee ID doesn't already exist on the sales staff table. So now that the relationship is established, I can create a bunch of different queries now about the data that I've got here. So I'll go ahead and close this. It's prompting me to save. Yes, I'm going to save my database relationship. And there you go. Import and establish relationships.